Ladies and gentlemen, this is season 6, episode 2. Yes, if you guys didn't get a chance to see my last episode, I promised y'all that we were going to get through season 6 without a single day missed. So far, we're looking good. Just posted the first episode yesterday, or excuse me, Tuesday. Posted it on Tuesday. Now, Friday, y'all are getting episode 2 because remember, I cut out Thursday episodes because I thought it would be better for viewership purposes to drop on Fridays because it's a weekend and everybody will have more time to watch when they get off work and all that. So I figured for viewership purposes, we do Fridays and Tuesdays. So today, Friday, you guys are getting season 2, episode 6, the Life's Playbook podcast, keeping the consistency alive so far. Um, Before we get started with today's episode, make sure to download Prize Picks, the most elite sports fantasy app. If you want to show off your sports knowledge, vote over or under, pick over or under on any player throughout any sport, throughout any statistic, and if that player hits, that that works towards uh, lineups that you can create for money at the end, for cash prizes at the end. So make sure to download Prize Picks, the most elite sports fantasy app. And also, I have some sad news for the show. Some sad news for the show that I just found out today. I will be bringing that up at the end of the episode. But for the time being, you guys, we got to get into the NFL today because week 1 is almost here. In fact, it is less than 2 weeks out. Less than a week out, if I'm being for real. So, what better time than to drop the first official prediction video of 2025 for the 2025 NFL season? So, having said all those things, let's dive into today's episode. For those of you who are new to the show, I am your host, Quinn Jackson. So, let's get into today's episode. I encourage you guys at the end to give me your thoughts on what you think on my predictions, and let me know if I'm screwing your team over at the end of this, as well as let me know how you guys would predict this week 1 slate. Let's dive into the episode. Enough chit chat. Let's dive into the episode. For those of you who don't know, week 1 starts September 4th. So that's this coming Thursday. September 4th is when the week starts off. We kick it off with the defending Super Bowl champs and the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Now, y'all already know if y'all watched my standings videos on and predicting, the team standings, y'all know that I'm not high on Dallas, but I'm not like low on Dallas either. I think they'll be a middle of the pack team, maybe a dark horse for playoff contention. But I definitely don't think they're going to finish fourth like I've been seeing a lot of people put them at in their division. So I think Dallas will be good. I know Philly's going to be good. And for those reasons, I'm taking Philly. Give me Philly here for an easy 1-0. Oh, maybe not an easy 1-0 start. This will be a relatively hard fought game to kick off week 1, and it should be. It's the Super Bowl champs versus a rival. So give me Philly to beat Dallas and advance to 1-0 to start the season, and Dallas starts 0-1 to start their season. Give me Philly. I think that's going to be, since it's week 1 and everybody's still kind of figuring things out, I don't expect this to be a high scoring game. Give me like a 21-10 type of game along those stat lines because it is week 1 and everybody is still figuring things out about their team. Moving on, week 1 continues on Friday. We got some Friday night NFL football action. And Kansas City taking on their division rival, the Chargers. Now, y'all already know how I feel about Kansas City, and y'all know how I feel about LA. I think LA is going to finish third in that division. I think they'll be behind the Broncos and or the Chiefs because I think the Broncos honestly could come in and snag the division. So, having said that, regular season, you could make an argument for an early upset here in LA's favor. I think the Chargers could snag this one because the Chiefs, I mean, at least looking if we're looking at off of last year, they're not that impressive in the regular season, and they really only won a lot of their games by 1 score or less. I don't think that they're going to get that same luck this season. So honestly, you could make the upset for the Chargers, and I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make an upset alert here. I think Kansas City is going to start 0-1. LA Chargers will start 1-0. Y'all feel free to let me know in the comments down below how you feel about that matchup. I think the Chiefs and the Chargers will both be in the playoffs. I will say that. So give me the Chargers to beat the Chiefs Friday night, September 5th. Which brings us to the main slate of Sunday football, September 7th. I will be in attendance for the Browns Bengals game. I still have yet to buy my ticket, so I better hurry up and do that because the window is probably super, 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 super tight right now to buy tickets. So I will be in attendance for that game. So if y'all are some fans that live in Cleveland and are going out to the Cleveland Browns game, y'all might give me a holler if you recognize me. Give me a holler if you recognize me from the podcast. But anyways, that's not the point. We got to start from the top and work all the way to the bottom until we get to the Monday night game, which obviously closes out the week. Tampa Bay at Atlanta. Um, I'm gonna be honest here. I think Tampa Bay's gonna snag them. So there's a lot of division rivals here to kick out week one of the NFL. There's a lot of division rivals here. Obviously, Dallas, Philly, Kansas City, LA Chargers. Now we have Tampa Bay and Atlanta and the Bengals Browns. So there's a lot of like rivalry games, divisional games to kick off this season, and I think that's going to be great because that's going to let us know where a lot of these teams are at early. I think this isn't a statement game because I don't know if y'all remember from when we were predicting week one for the college football game. I highlighted some matchups that would be staple games for these teams. What would kind of be in man, I cannot talk today, guys. I'm sorry. Um, what would be at stake for those teams? Excuse me. So this is not. I don't think this is a staple matchup for Tampa Bay and Atlanta, but I will take Tampa Bay here to go 1-0, and Atlanta will go 0-1. I think Tampa Bay is going to snag them early. I believe Atlanta owned them both games last season. I don't think it's going to be the same this year. Much better team, Tampa Bay. They arguably got improved. Hopefully, Desmond Watson can get in shape at some point in the season and come and play because he can. He honestly, if he's in shape and loses a lot of pounds, he could be a home wrecker for that interior O line and the run game. Him and Vita Vea. So we'll see. I'll keep an eye on that story. But give me Tampa Bay over Atlanta, 1-0. Tampa Bay 0-1 Atlanta. Which brings me to the Browns Bengals game, home game. Again, I will be in attendance for that game. So y'all be on the lookout for me. I'll be in attendance in that game. Uh for biasy purposes, I'm gonna rock with us. A lot of people are not rocking with us. They think the Bengals are gonna beat us week one, and I get it. The Bengals objectively, at least offensively, are a way better team offensively than we are. You could argue they're just a better team overall. But I got to stick with my home team here. I'm going with the Browns here. I think Joe Flacco can get off to a crazy good start, and it's the Bengals week one. They have a history of not winning their opening week games. They have a history of that. I think that history continues. Give me the Browns to beat the Bengals. Obviously, in a realistic standpoint, you guys can say I'm wrong and say the Bengals are going to get their first dub and break whatever streak they're on of losing week one games. But I'm going with the Browns. And one last reminder, I will be in attendance for that game. Miami versus Indianapolis at Indy. I'm gonna be honest. I think Miami's gonna win this one. I don't think Indy's gonna be terribly good, but I don't think they're gonna be like terribly bad. I think Indy's got a lot of things. They got good talent going for them, but they don't know how. They just can't get that quarterback situation right. And Danny Dimes starting week one against a pretty good Miami Dolphins defense. I'm not trusting Danny Dimes here, so I'm going Miami here for the early 1-0 start. So as of right now, I have Tampa Bay going 1-0, Atlanta going 0-1. I have the Bengals going 0-1, and my Cleveland Browns going 1-0, and I have the Miami Dolphins going 1-0, and the Colts Chiefs going 0-1. Let me know in the comments how we're looking so far. The Raiders versus New England. Now, this is a statement game. I would say this is the first statement game of the week because these are two teams that a lot of us, and I mean a lot of us, myself when it comes to New England hype, we are very high on these two teams. A lot of us are very high on these two teams, and for good reason. Drake May's finally got some good offensive line help, and he's got some good, maybe some of them aren't the youngest, but he's got some good receivers to throw to now, and he's got a pretty solid and arguably top 15, top 10 running back core in the league right now, the way Travion Henderson's been looking. And then you have the Raiders. You have Geno Smith, who's been on the high since moving to Seattle and then coming to the Las Vegas Raiders. He's been on a high right now in his career. They arguably have, no, not arguably, they've drafted the best running back out of this draft in Ashton Genty. So there's a lot going for them. And they have a reliable wide receiver in Amari Cooper. I know he's way past his prime, but he can still be reliable for the team. So both teams have quite a bit going for them talent-wise. This is all going to come down to the running battle, who's going to dominate the run game, because both teams have very good running backs, and one team has a better offensive line than the other. And so for that reason, I'm going to go with New England here. This is a statement game right here, though, because if New England comes out and loses this game, I'm not going to lie, there may be some question marks. But again, it is week 1. So I understand if people aren't too crazy on either team losing this game. But this is a statement game. I think we can't deny that this is a statement game right here. And I'm going New England here. I just trust their O-line way better than the Raiders O-line. I trust Travion is going to have a much better day than Ashton Genty. So give me New England here. I can hear the arguments for the Raiders winning this one, but personally, I'm high on New England. I'm not that high on the Raiders. So for those reasons, give me New England to beat the Las Vegas Raiders, which moves us on to Arizona versus not even arguably, going to be the worst team in 2025, the New Orleans Saints. Give me Arizona. This should be a no-brainer dub for the Cardinals. If they somehow end up losing this game, I will be upset. I will not be happy if Arizona loses this game because there's really no reason to. Better O-line, better running backs, better wide receivers, better quarterback, just everything better than New Orleans. So Arizona, get the job done. Moving on to Pittsburgh at the New York Jets. I'm going to be honest with you here. I'm not that high on the Jets, but I'm not that low on the Jets. I don't like Pittsburgh, but I can't deny they might have a slightly better roster than the Jets. Call me crazy and consider that a hot take, but I think Pittsburgh might have a slightly better roster than the Jets. They definitely have more experience than the Jets. And this is week 1, and you don't know what you're going to get from Justin Fields. Although he's looked decent in the preseason, you don't know what you're going to get out of Justin Fields this early in the season. You don't know what you're going to get out of the rest of that offense this early in the season. So for those reasons, I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers here. I think this team is going to be a little more ready to play than the Jets. Granted, they're much older than the Jets, but I just think experience is going to win this here. Better wide receiver room, arguably. More experienced quarterback, better quarterback, arguably. And better coaching staff as of right now. So give me Pittsburgh. So right now I have New England at 1-0. I have Arizona at 1-0. And I have Pitt at 1-0. Pittsburgh at 1-0. I have the Jets at 0-1. I have the Saints at 0-1. I have the Raiders at 0-1. I have Indy at 0-1. Cincinnati at 0-1. And I have the Atlanta Falcons at 0-1. This brings us to, I would say, a statement game for these two teams as well. I'm going to call this another statement game right here for the Giants at Washington. And I'm saying this is a statement game because the hype is through the roof for the Commanders. We've all seen, First Take and all these other sports shows come out here and say that Washington is, a dark horse for Super Bowl contenders. They're going to be in the playoffs again. They're going to win the division, which I don't think is true. So, and long story short, there's an absurd amount of hype for the Commanders. Some of it deserved, others, let's calm down here. JD5 is going into his sophomore season. Whether he has a sophomore slump like Stroud remains to be seen. But let's die down the hype here. Now I'm gonna pick Washington here to win this. I'm gonna pick Washington here to win this, but depending who's at quarterback for the Giants, I don't think this is going to be a easy no-brainer W for the Commanders because I am a believer in that man Jackson Dart. And I've seen Jackson Dart in the preseason, and although we're going to start discrediting his work, his body of work, because he played against backups and practice squad guys, he you can't deny that he put up good stats and looked good. You can't deny that. So if he's the one starting week 1, I think the Giants will make this a tough game for the Commanders. If he's not starting week 1, which I think is most likely going to be the case, and it's probably going to be Russ, then I think this could be a no-brainer dub for the Commanders here. But I'm going with Washington here to beat the Giants. Going with Washington here to beat the Giants. This is a statement game because if the Giants win this game, they might be they might be a dark horse team. I'm gonna say it right now. Whether it's for playoff contention, I don't know. But if the Giants beat the Commanders, they could be a scary team to watch. If the Commanders lose this game, we are gonna have again. It's week 1, so I understand. So I'm not gonna be too drastic when I say this. I'm gonna try to not sound drastic. But if Washington loses this game, then we may have just a little bit of skepticism on them. I think a little bit of skepticism should be deserved. Not a lot. Not like, oh my gosh, this team is not going to be the same as they were last year. I'm not saying that, but let's just die down the hype just a little bit if Washington loses this game. So I would say this is a statement game, another division game, but I'm going with Washington here. Which brings us to Carolina at Jacksonville. Right now, this early in the season, I'm going Jacksonville. I trust their roster a bit more than Carolina. This should be a no-brainer dub for Jacksonville. So I'm going with Jacksonville here to beat Carolina. I think Jacksonville is probably going to be the only other team in the AFC South to really contend with the Texans for winning that division because I think Jacksonville really did get good. They really did get better. Can't deny that. I think Travis Hunter, he's going to be an explosively fun player to watch. I'll be watching him, and I'll be watching the highlights that are put out on social media of him. Arguably, could be a rookie of the year for both sides of the football candidate. But right now, this should be a no-brainer dub for Jacksonville. Hey, Ted McMillan, I know you're questionable right now, but I have you on my fantasy team. You are my flex. I picked you because I saw your preseason debut and your preseason in general. You're going to get a lot of touches on the football. So I hope you better be dropping a lot of points for me this season, and I hope you can stay healthy to do so for my fantasy team. Which, by the way, guys, let me know in the comments down below if drafting Ted McMillan as a flex was a good idea or not. I think it is, because who else is Bryce Young going to throw to? They got rid of Adam Thielen. All he has is Xavier Leggett. So that clearly opens the window for Ted to have a big season. Tennessee at Denver. Just like Carolina at Jacksonville. Right now, this should be a no-brainer dub this should be a no-brainer dub for the Broncos. Tennessee, I still think they have a lot of holes to fill. Cam Ward's looked great. I've seen a lot of the highlights that have been put out on him through social media, and he's looked great. Haven't really heard anything bad about him. But at this stage in the game, I still think Tennessee has a lot of holes to fill that I just think this season is not going to fix. So right now, give me Denver over Tennessee. The defense is going to have a field day with that offensive line. And I think Cam Ward is going to get sacked quite a few times unless he has very smart, pre-snap IQ and scrambling capabilities. So, give me Denver here. This should be a no-brainer game. No-brainer dub for the Broncos. San Fran against Seattle. I'm going to call this a statement game. So far, the two matchups prior to this I've called statement games are L.A., the Las Vegas Raiders versus New England Patriots, and the Giants versus the Commanders. Those are the two matchups so far that I've really considered statement games. This is going to be the third one. I think this is going to be a statement game for both teams. I say this because we're all going to be watching Sam Darnold very closely because he had a very good season last season. Very good season. Not going to discredit any of his body of work, other than the fact that he played with a top 1 wide receiver in the league and a arguably top 10 wide receiver 2 in the league, and had one of the best coaches in the NFL coaching him in Kevin O'Connell. But we're going to be watching Sam Darnold very closely. We're going to be watching that Seattle defense, which is going to be very good. I think the Seattle defense is going to be very good. We're going to be watching that defense closely. We're going to be watching a lot of things about the Seahawks closely. So for those reasons, I'm going to go with the Seahawks. I think the Niners, for some strange reason, they are projected to win their division. I think that's not going to happen. This is a divisional game. This is week 1. The Niners, I could only see win this game if McCaffrey pops off. I'm going to be honest with you. If Kittle and McCaffrey pop off, the Niners, I think, could win this game. If they don't do that, I think Seattle has a chance. Now, this is going to be a tough game, all right? This ain't a no-brainer dub for Seattle. This is going to be a tough game for Seattle. I think this might be one of the closer games of week 1. So it ain't going to be easy, but I'm going to rock with Seattle. In fact, I'll even call this an upset alert because I know most people are not going to have Seattle winning this, but I'll go with Seattle. I'm going to call this an upset alert, and I think Seattle's going to win. Not soundly, but hey, if Sam Darnold really is that guy like he was last season, and he's able to replicate the exact same success with a completely different offense and offensive coaching staff, then maybe Sam Darnold has revived his career just like Baker Mayfield in Tampa. So give me upset alert in a nitty-gritty game. Give me Seattle over San Fran. Y'all let me know in the comments down below what you think of that matchup, and if I'm screwing the Niners over or if I'm being fair. Having said that, we got 3 more games before we head to the Monday night closer. Detroit at Green Bay. Now this game honestly could go either way. I ain't even gonna hold you. This game honestly could go either way, and I wouldn't be mad if either or team lost because it is early in the season. For the sake of the episode, though, I'm going to go with the Lions here. Again, it's not going to be a no-brainer dub here, okay? It's not going to be a no-brainer dub. I think this might be also the second closest game of the week. You could even argue and make a case that this could be game of the week. But I'm going with Detroit here. Although they're having a pretty much revamped coaching staff, I think Goff is going to be hot. He's going to come out up to a hot start. I think my running back GOAT of today. Okay, this is an all-time, and I'm being sarcastic when I say that, but I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have a field day to open his season. I think the offense, in general, I think the offense isn't going to really be hindered with Ben Johnson's removal, with Ben Johnson's farewell, with his goodbye. I think the offense will pretty much stay the same. They might have a small regress with the loss of Ben Johnson, but nothing too crazy. Again, I wouldn't be mad if either one of these teams lost, but for the sake of the episode, if I had to pick one, give me Detroit over Green Bay. That brings us to Houston versus LA. I'm going to be honest. LA might not have a chance if Matthew Stafford is not up and running by week 1. If Matthew Stafford is not up and running by week 1, they might lose this. And if they do, I'm not going to trip. Not going to trip out about it because I know once Matthew Stafford comes back, they're going to be all right. If Matthew Stafford is up and running, then I think LA will win this. But I'm going to go with Houston on this one because, I don't even know. I don't know what's going on with Stafford right now. I know he's 40. He's approaching 40, and back problems can be an issue for guys his age. So This game really all depends on Matt Stafford if he's up and running or if he's not. And I don't really like the chances of rocking with the Rams on that. So I'm going with Houston here. That might be a hot take. Y'all might flame me for that, but hey, y'all let me know because I haven't really been full on engaged in the Matthew Stafford injury. So y'all let me know what's kind of going on and if he is projected to be up and running. If so, then the Rams will win. But right now I'm sticking with Houston, and that brings us to the 8:20 game, final game of Sunday, the first Sunday night football game. Baltimore versus Buffalo, rematch of the divisional game last season. We all know that catastrophic drop at the end of the play. I don't think it's going to come down to that, but we cannot deny that this is going to be an exciting game. Obviously, this is game of the week. It's Lamar MVP going up against Josh Allen MVP. So obviously, this is going to be the game that most people are tuned into. Um, but and you know me, I like Josh and I like Lamar Jackson. So this one's kind of hard for me to choose a winner here, and I honestly wouldn't be mad if either one of these teams lost. For the sake of the episode, though, I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson strictly because his roster on paper is way better than Josh's roster. So I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson here strictly because on paper, if you look at the two rosters position for position, Baltimore has the better team here. I think we can all agree on that. Baltimore has the better team here, so they really should get the job done here. Again, not going to trip out if either one of these teams lose because it is very early in the season. The season will have just started at this point, so I'm not going to trip out. But give me Lamar here. I kind of expect the Ravens to win this one. Okay, just like the Chiefs, the Bills, they're not always the flashiest in the regular season, especially early on. So give me Lamar and company to beat Josh Allen and company. Which brings us to the closing game. The closing game, Minnesota at Chicago. You could say there's an upset alert here because of how good Chicago's looked and all the pieces that they added. And I would hear the argument. I would understand the argument. I'm going with Minnesota, though. I think Minnesota's going to get them early. I think you can make the case they even split, but I think, honestly, I see Minnesota sweeping here, sweeping in this series. I think it starts Monday night, September 8th, to close out week one. I think Minnesota's going to get the job done here. I think they have a better team, although they have a unproven quarterback at J.J. McCarthy, as opposed to the Bears having, Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. It's early in the season. We don't know if those two, Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams, are going to have the synergy like that just yet. It's early in the season. We don't really know what we're going to get out of the Bears offense just yet. And I think we kind of know what we can expect from the Vikings offense. And although McCarthy's not really proven, he is set up to have a good game. He's set up in a very good offense. So there's kind of no reason McCarthy should be anywhere below, decent at the very worst. If he's any lower than decent in that game, oh no, Vikings, y'all might be cooked. But give me Minnesota here. So, as it stands, these are all my final predictions for week one of the NFL regular season. I have Philly over Dallas. I have in an upset the Chargers over Kansas City. I have Tampa Bay over Atlanta. I have my Cleveland Browns over the Bengals. I have the Dolphins over the Colts, the Patriots over the Raiders, Arizona in a no-brainer dub against the Saints. I have the Steelers over the Jets. I have Washington over the Giants, although I think that's going to be a very tough game depending on who's playing quarterback for the Giants. I have Jacksonville over Carolina. I have the Broncos over Tennessee. I have Seattle in an upset alert over San Fran. I have the Lions over Green Bay. I have the Texans over the Rams, but again, it all kind of depends on Matty Stafford, whether he's going to be up and running or not. And then I have the Ravens over the Bills. And to finish it off, I have J.J. McCarthy and company beating the Chargers. Or not Chargers, the Bears. Excuse me, the Bears. Having said that, let me know in the comment section down below what y'all think about my prediction. Would you change things? Would you agree for the most part? Let me know how you think your team is going to do. With that being said, there is some bad. We gotta get to the bad news here. Before I close the episode. And that bad news is, to put it plain and simple, my co-host will not be returning. My co-host will not be returning because, let's just put it simply, me and him are not in good standings. For reasons that I will not share on the show, because that's not what this show is about. It's about sports. So I'm not going to bring that onto here, and I don't want to weaponize my show, to go after him. So I'm being a good sport here. I'll just tell you guys that we're not in good standings anymore. Um, and he is no longer welcome on my show. Whether this hurts the show or not remains to be seen. But yeah, from here on out, it will just be me until I can find another co-host, or until me and him can make amends. So having said that, if y'all want to know exactly what went down, DM me. All right, DM me my personal account or personal socials across all socials. But anyways, let's move past that. This has been Season 6, Episode 2 of the Life's Playbook Podcast. Again, let me know down below what y'all think about prediction, as well as what you think about my thoughts on your team's matchup for the week. If you think I'm bugging, or if you think I'm thugging. So, I'll catch you guys next Tuesday for Season 6, Episode 3 of the Life's Playbook Podcast. Till then, peace out.